So an ATF investigator out of Tijuana got caught running guns to Mexico. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's up, Wolverines? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist and author. I have a new book coming out on November 1st called Masters of Firepower, and it goes over some of my favorite firearms designers through history. If you can do me a huge favor, go ahead and sub to the channel. It really helps with growth because the algorithm is based on engagement, and subscriptions is a big part of engagements. Today we are sponsored by our friends over at Gideon Optics. Gideon Optics makes some of the best optics at an affordable price. So why spend money on an optic where you can get a cheaper optic that is just as good? Go ahead and check out Gideon Optics, and for a limited time you can use code CRUMPY and get 10% off and free shipping on all orders. Today, we're going to be talking about a Mexican national that worked as an ATF investigator out of the Tijuana consulate. His name was Jose Luis Meneses, and he is accused of running guns from the United States to Mexico. We all know the ATF has a history of running guns to Mexico. Just look at Fast and Furious. But this guy decided to do this by himself to make a little bit of extra cash. This is how it worked. At the consulate, there are vehicles that have diplomatic plates. Diplomatic plates means that the cars are not subject to search, which means that Mexican officials cannot search the car as it's coming into Mexico because it is technically property of the United States. The stuff inside the car is protected by international treaties. So what this dude would do is take the vehicle, drive it over to California. He would then go to a gun store in the Golden State. Now we don't know what gun store that was, but he would buy gun parts, which is totally legal. I don't think the gun store did anything wrong because they're allowed to sell gun parts. He would then jump back in the car, drive it back across the border. And remember, since he had diplomatic plates, the Mexican officials did not examine the vehicle. And then he would sell it to his cartel friends and other criminals in Mexico. Now, you might be wondering what type of charges this guy has faced, and the answer is none. The only reason we know this is because of a ATF whistleblower that gave the information to Senator Chuck Grassley's office. Now, this is what the ATF did. They got rid of him. They did not work with him anymore. They fired him, basically. But they never told Mexico that this guy was a gun trafficker. So basically, the ATF decided not to hold him accountable and just cut him loose and never informed the country that he lives in that he was running guns to cartels in other places. Which brings me to my point. What other people do the ATF cover up for? It seems like the ATF loves to cover up for their own people if they break the law, but if we step over that line just a little bit, just by a centimeter, they are going to throw the proverbial book at us. So the question is should this guy be prosecuted? And I guess that's really up to Mexico to decide. But they had no idea that this guy was even running guns. Now they are demanding an investigation into this guy and the amount of guns that he ran into Mexico. Senator Grassley's office is asking questions as to why the ATF never notified the host country, which is Mexico, about this guy's illegal dealings. This guy is running guns to some pretty bad people in Mexico. So you know these guns are being used in crimes. According to Mexico, which I don't know if I believe or not, but they state that 70% of the firearms recovered in Mexico come from the United States. I wonder how many murders were committed with firearms that came either from ATF agents or directly from the ATF themselves. We do know during Fast and Furious, several of those firearms turned up at murder scenes, and there was even a Customs and Border Patrol agent that was shot and killed by one of the firearms that the ATF let walk into Mexico. So there's probably bodies on some of these guns that this guy brought into Mexico. We'll have to wait and see what comes of this, but the Mexican government is demanding that there is a full investigation into this guy and the ATF's actions at protecting this guy. Why are they protecting him? I don't know, but something stinks to high heaven, and hopefully we will find out soon. Sorry, my video was a little bit late today. I've been dealing with a bad migraine, which I deal with quite often. But hey, I'm here, right? So making a video. Yay. All right, guys. I hope you have a great week this week. Remember, November 1st, my book comes out tonight over on Rumble. If you go to rumble.com/c/uncensored podcast, we have a podcast today at 10 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be talking about WW3. So if you want to jump on there, go ahead and do so. It is a fun time, and we can talk about stuff that we can't talk about here on YouTube. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a good thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Engagement, remember, is key to the algorithm. All right, guys, stay vigilant, stay free, keep in the fight. Remember that you matter, and I am out of here. Wolverines, motherfucker.